Not even that.
Sakes, and I can't.
Yeah, oh, Kim, you know,
Can I?
yeah, you can.
Tell.
I know.
Get started?
Let's call our meeting to order here. We're a little late. We need a roll call, please.
Kim O'Connell,
I am here.
Sharon Kelly,
Here.
Tracy LeBlanc,
Here.
Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Pamela Darby,
Here.
and Justin Wood.
Here.
6 members out of 6 are present.
Right. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Tracy, is there a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, Doug? All right. Any changes or anything? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Yeah. Our minutes from the 11th, November 11th, 24. I did not see anything.
That should be November 6th,
6.
by the way, not the 11th.
It says the 6th. Oh, and the one.
The one I read, it says, so that's the change, just that typo, the 6th.
Yes.
All right. So from the November 6th meeting. See anything? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Okay. Tracy and Justin. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Public comments, 3 minutes, not to exceed 30 minutes total. 4 after, all right. Do we have any public comment here today? None done? None, okay. We have no other supervisors here. Away we go. We will jump to number 7 for hearing.
Good morning. Eric Whitecheck, County Conservationist for the Polk County Land and Water Resources Department. I have Caitlin Anderson here from our department too, our quality analyst. So for those of you that are new to our committee, every year for the past 4, we have recognized some outstanding citizen groups that have really advanced soil health, water quality, just general natural resource conservation in our county for the past year. And we're here again to present the 2024 Stewardship Awards for the Land and Water Resource Department. And got the presentation up here. Talk a little bit about the award. The award can be a individual or group, and each award winner has been a valued partner contributing to our Land and Water Resources Department mission of preserving, protecting, and enhancing our natural resources. Each award winner has dedicated a significant amount of time and talent assisting with initiatives to advance soil and water resource management in our county. Each award winner is a leader and has influenced many of their peers or youth to engage in resource management practices and protection efforts. Each award winner continues to proudly support local natural resource conservation to make Polk County the best place to live, work, and play. So in the first category, our land stewardship, we've got an active member of the Western Wisconsin Conservation Council. This is a farmer-led organization aimed at promoting environmentally sound agricultural practices. This individual and their partners on the farm utilize soil health practices that they promote, and they've hosted countless conservation-related field days for agricultural producers to share the successes and the failures of these practices in the field. This individual continues to lead by example and share soil health and conservation messages with their peers within our community. So with that, I am extremely proud to present Greg Frenchu of Frenchu Farms with the 2024 Stewardship Award. Got a really, really outstanding plaque.
It is an
With your-
outstanding flag. It's good with an outstanding individual.
And if you want to say a few things about your operation, Greg, feel free to do so.
Well, if anyone's got any questions about our operation, feel free to ask. I think I presented to the board here a number of years ago, and some of you may have been on that board and got to see a deeper look into what we do. But I think the one thing that I'd like to do is thank all of you who are voluntarily here, who make the conservation one of the things that they put their energy towards, because we all have a footprint that we leave behind. We all use plastic and burn gas and whatever. Our operation is to a scale where it could have a pretty negative effect on it. And that's why it's important for us to try to lessen that and counter it with a bunch of the things that we're trying to do on our farm to try to add to it. You know, it's a tough thing to add to the environment, as you all know.
Greg has implemented many practices that minimize risk to our natural resources, and we've noticed and recognized that, and use of cover crops and low disturbance, manure injection, and just some of the advancements on your farm. And we appreciate it, and just wanted you to know that we've noticed and commend you on a job well done. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So in the next category, the Water Stewardship Award highlights a program offering of a local lake organization, and it's called the Deer Lake Herons Homeowner Project. This Herons Homeowner Project continues the Deer Lake Conservancy's long-term commitment to reduce runoff and improve habitat on Deer Lake. This unique homeowner project provides a highly sought-after heron marker to homeowners with natural shorelines. To qualify for the shoreline heron marker, the natural cover of trees, shrubs, and groundwater must make up at least 70% of the shoreline buffer zone, which starts at the water's edge and extends back 35 feet. The surfaces must make up 10% or less of the area. Or I'm sorry, let me back up. The opening of the shoreline buffer must be no more than 30 feet wide, and impervious surfaces must make up 10% or less of the area. The Conservancy maintains an interactive map on their website where details about each heron marker can be viewed. Next slide, please. So Polk County Land and Water Resources finds this to be a fabulous program worthy of showcasing. And with that, I'm honored to present Deer Lake Conservancy with a 2024 Water Stewardship Award. And we have Jay Becker representing Deer Lake Conservancy here. Your award, Mr. Becker. So Deer Lake has done many things around their lake to conserve land and protect water quality. And this Herons project in promoting natural shorelines has been quite influential. And if you're interested in speaking on that a little bit, feel free to do so. But it's been a wonderful program. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there have been people that have wanted to purchase that heron marker to have on their land or on their properties, because it's kind of a unique symbol, but they have to earn it by restoring their shoreline and having native species planted there. So they don't just give them out.
No, we've been very fortunate, as you saw on the map, on the number of homeowners that have participated in it, where they have gone back and restored their shoreline. And so we're very fortunate for that. Plus, Deer Lake Conservancy is doing quite a bit in terms of behind the shorelines to try to make some changes to help clear the water before it runs into the lake, in terms of holding ponds, keeping some of the backland natural, so that we try to keep the lake a little cleaner.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your efforts and hopefully other lake organizations would see this program as an example and maybe utilize it as well. So thank you very much. So with that, thanks for your time. We appreciate your support and this is always kind of a very enjoyable program for us and we appreciate recognizing outstanding citizens and lake groups that and other organizations that have made a difference within our county. So are there any other questions or comments, reactions?
Do you have ones for this year? I see all that's coming up.
Say that again?
All the new ones are coming up again. I see on the website next year's.
Next year's
Well,
award.
would you put forward to
Yeah, so we.
nominations, different things, whatever?
Sure. The process for us is, we get through part of the year, and our team in Land and Water Resources gets together and we have a few discussions on people that have made a difference in that year or in previous years. So we put a list of nominations together and as a team, we go through and choose the top candidates for the year. So we really haven't got to that point. But we're gonna celebrate the folks that have received the award this year, and next year we hope that there will be a number of other citizens or organizations that'll come to the table and do great things in our county.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, if you'll excuse us, we're gonna take some photos and
Yeah, great.
Sure.
thanks
Yep.
everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, crop damage report. Here we go. Ed, put him in the hot seat.
He's used to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for having me again. I'm Cody Knope and I administer the Animal Damage Abatement Claims Program here for Polk. I'd say that 24 has been a good year. We've had, there's always crop damage by the species. Deer and bear are still our main ones. But I think this year, compared to last year, I think we had, at least stable amounts of damage. We do see Polk County having a higher deer population than some of the other counties around that administer. So we do see some higher levels of deer damage. But I think, we were able to address a lot of the damage this year. And there's some species, we didn't have any geese claims this year in Polk County, so that was good. That was, I think we had 2 last year and none this year, so that's an improvement. Still saw geese on those ponds, those wetlands near the, agriculture spots. And, what we did last year was able to stop the damage from this year. So not even worried about a claim on those properties. So I think the program was a pretty good year for us. I know we were busy, did a lot of things early.
How many claims this year?
This year, we're looking at probably 5 claims,
Oh.
three deer claims and 2 bear claims. We had, some people that didn't claim this year. The damage was a little bit lower from what we had last year. And so that's always a good thing to have a lower amount of claims.
What, did we have 15 last year? 16? wasn't
Right in there. I
Yeah.
don't have that number off the top of my head,
it?
but.
Sure.
And one thing too is I know corn prices and commodity prices across the board are down from what they've been in the last couple of years. So for these 5 claims this year, we'll need to just set a price for those commodities at this meeting, and then we'll be approving or discussing the claims later.
Probably the next meeting or so,
Probably the next.
when you come back or something.
Yep,
So we just need to do our pricing.
sure.
Start out.
And so the Yeah, this year we have the soybeans, corn, and oats are the three commodities for Polk County.
No veggies this year.
No veggies this year.
Trees and veggies we don't have. Do you have a tree farm?
No, I'm just, no, I,
We had trees.
Hmm?
We had trees last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spoke to that producer and he had some damage, but it wasn't at the claim minimums and it wasn't worth
Oh, okay.
enrollment for him. And it's hard to address. That was a buck damage, during rut with, rubbing on the trees, and that's something it's hard to address for the program.
Sure.
We like to see as little of that as we can. But, do you guys want to go through the commodities
One at a
at
time.
a time?
Yep, let's start with corn.
All right, so corn, we had, I do the risk management, the insurance prices. We did a local, kind of an elevator price and then a NAS average, so a national average, kind of average from May to September. And I did have some October updates. So corn actually went, to 388 a bushel in October on the Wisconsin average. The risk management, the proposed price number one, doesn't include basis. So that's the cost of getting it to market. So there's about, between 75 to 80 cents to $1, off of that price is what we would see at a local elevator price. So those numbers are a little bit higher than the other ones that we see.
Number 2 makes the most sense for corn. Because
agreed.
that's the average of the local elevators for the November time.
Sure. And that's,
I agree. Just sold for that actually for December delivery.
sure. And so if you guys want to discuss what in that range or if that price is fine, then you guys can set.
I mean, if that's the average, I think that's what we should go with.
You should go with the 374.
Yep.
Well, by consensus, what does everybody think?
I'm okay with that. That
Good.
makes sense.
Doug, what do you think? Yep.
Yep.
How about no change? Save
You're right.
375.
Well, if you wanted to throw that extra penny,
want
and
that
I wouldn't argue with you just for, round kind of numbers.
So consensus, we'll go 374.
Okay.
Corn, all right. That'll work.
And with soybeans, I was able to get, Justin, did you see the additional,
I didn't see the.
I had some Cushing numbers. I was a little bit too late to find, they stopped the historical data on a lot of the elevators. The purchase subscription to get the October local prices. I did find a 1028 of a $9.08 at Cushing.
What day?
28th of October.
I think beans should have been, during normal harvest were like 975. If I remember right.
Right in that category as well. I don't follow beans nearly as closely, but.
Or honestly, we could take the NAS, you have the NAS price.
That was 990 for October.
Yeah. I would be fine with the 990. For October's ones.
So we're looking at 990 then for the beans.
Would be my recommendation.
All right. What's everybody else think? Go right down the line. Tracy, what do you think?
Sure. Yeah, I'm good.
Yep. All right.
So we did have some deer damage to oats this year. It's not a significant amount of damage compared to corn and soybeans. But oats were damaged by deer and they're in.
Well, that's our first oat one. I don't know if we've ever had oats before.
No, generally there's not. Oats haven't been planted heavily. And the damage to oats has generally been light.
Okay.
Which was kind of a rare case. I think it was just the right conditions for that field to be targeted by deer. And the NAS average did come down, or was at 371 for oats for October. But that's gonna be a higher price because oats are usually harvested in August
And yeah, early.
earlier.
Justin, what do you think?
Well, I know oats are
It's-
tough to get. I mean, there's a lot less people growing oats, so they gotta come from a distance now. We're 371 in October, you said?
October, so that's pretty high from what,
I mean, if NAS for May to September was 336 and our RMA was 338 to 298, I'm fine with just going with the NAS numbers for the oats.
Split the difference to 298 to 3. So what? 3.25?
Oh, the next one is that.
336.
So NAS would be the national.
Oh.
Ag Statistics Service.
Yeah.
But that's
So
across
take
the
the
nation.
330.
That's across the nation, but
that, no,
think-
that's actually, they did split it out by Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah, you do have Wisconsin
Okay.
numbers. I was thinking locally though, anybody buy oats anymore? Just
They
trying to look
do,
up
but I don't know
Peterson's.
if they got posted bids anymore.
And they only accepted oats.
Trying to look.
Most local elevators only accepted oats for a few months.
Yeah, because oats are, locally grown oats are not the quality that you buy.
Right.
So I would be fine taking that 336 of the NAS average for oats.
Okay. Let's go down the line again. What do you think? Sure. Too high? You wanna go down?
It's a little high, but in the same token,
Well,
I
give us
guess
a
if we
number.
don't,
You think it's high? Give
I
us a
think
number.
$3.
3 even? Does everybody else think if they think it? But it is, how much is it?
But I'm sure it's not,
50 bushels? It's a difference of about $12.
well, exactly, right.
I'm trying to recall that one.
Okay,
Not,
It's not huge, I'm sure.
yeah.
And so,
yeah,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to get,
Leave it alone then?
yeah, leave it alone.
There you go. Okay.
I'm just-
336, 336. 336.
Okay. So we're.
Right.
Split the difference.
Right.
You're making.
That's what I was, yeah,
Right. I just,
So you got something to
there
go off.
is still, I mean, I could have done,
yeah, because it wasn't.
but
what
there
the-
is still some local markets that will pay a lot. But
It was more than I do, yeah.
And I don't think local are gonna pay that much. That's possible.
So we're actually with only 5 and no veggies and.
yeah, no veggie.
Different stuff.
We did have one, commercial garden that was enrolled, that is, they didn't meet the minimums for their deer, on their deer shooting permit. So they'd be ineligible for a claim.
Oh, okay.
It's tough because some of those, they shot a doe right away and then the deer went nocturnal. And it was a June, situation and it's hard to get some of those. But for the amount of vegetables and stuff and everything, that it wasn't warranted a waiver to be eligible, just, based on not meeting the minimums.
So some of the corn ones in that, were they off in Sterling again? Some of the same people every
Yep,
year?
Sterling, then north part of the state too. So there's up by Indian, there's
Okay,
a deer enrollee up there.
sure.
And county line, there's a lot of corn. One producer had a lot of corn in Polk again this year. That was moderate bear damage
Okay.
but large acreage in Polk this year. That producer.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
in the past, we've had a list of.
Claims.
5, but last year we had a full list. Just asking for like next year, if we could have the list again.
well, we get the list. It'll,
Next meeting.
next month. The next meeting, we'll have the list, won't we?
Yes, we'll have all the claims prepared with the
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get it.
names
That's what I was
and
wondering
commodities
too, because
associated with the claims. I'd rather just keep the
Names out.
names out of it, just.
Well, we establish price and.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we usually do it anyway, so I think.
But no, I did look at some fields by Amory. Must be a pretty hefty amount of deer, part of the county. And I did see the worst field that I've ever seen this year. We did get him a shooting permit for the end of the season. But I think that was a silage on a small dairy operation that probably lost 80% of the yield in that 10 acres. To deer and turkeys. That was tough. I saw some fields on there that have been heavily damaged by deer. And so I don't know if what that's gonna translate into next year, but it seems like that area of the county is
Sure.
deer population, so.
Question.
So we no turkey geese claims this year?
Turkey geese, it's just deer and bear this year.
Okay, deer and bear is all.
They notified me in late September about the damage. They were gonna be a late chopping their corn. But when they went to inspect the field, it was heavily damaged. I'll try to bring some slides next time to just show what,
Just curious, how are you doing the inspections? Are you just are you walking the fields? Or are you droning
for what,
for your damage?
for corn.
Yeah.
Corn we fly.
Do you?
Well, we fly or I do bare corn. When we have damage, it's usually inside the field and you see all these pockets and I fly with the pilot and I take the photos.
Oh, you actually go up in a plane. You're not doing a drone.
No, I fly. Yep, because we do try to get 2 counties done in a day.
Got it.
And,
Okay.
excuse me, I've got a slightly.
No, no.
But
I've just seen some really interesting photos that they're good information that they've been able to do with drone flyovers as far as, especially bear damage, because it is significant.
Sure, and that's why we do use aircraft, and I do take all the photos personally. I fly now because I like to see what adjacent landowners have for issues and see if it's concentrated or spread across the area of the county, so. Everybody had a little bit this year, and some fields did get pretty heavily damaged. After I do take the photos, I go in and I ground rectify the space of the damage. And so I have something to go off of. Then I collect a yield at the damaged location.
Got it.
And corn actually yielded pretty good this year for a lot of spots, especially in Polk County. Deer damage, a lot of that I walk, a lot of damage is on the outside. And then a lot of times deer will actually kind of go into the field and then they'll eat a lot of the tassel. And so you have low corn and it's hard to see the damage from outside. So that's why a lot of times I get late calls on corn damage where there'll be, acres that maybe have been damaged. There's still a yield compared to bare, but it's almost unharvestable with the growth of the crop and the response. So we have a whole guidebook and handbook of how to actually collect all the yield.
Well, we got a LiDAR guy. He'll show you how to measure it from the plane.
Every 5 years we can do that.
Yeah.
That's,
I can use you every 5 years, but the other 4 I'll probably.
There you go.
Before you don't walk it.
Any other questions on this and stuff? I know it's pretty straightforward, just regular field crops and you guys are,
Yeah, it's pretty, this one's pretty good.
so.
So we'll have you on for the next meeting. You'll be all right for that, the way it looks?
Have me, yep.
Well, that's January. What's our December meeting date? It
This is December.
says January.
Right, but that's January, will be our next meeting.
January 5th.
We did.
Kim, hello.
New Year's is on the 1st, so is ours gonna be on the 8th?
No.
That's a subject matter on the agenda coming
That
up.
is the second man.
It shows right here.
We don't know when our
It's got a
next
second
meeting
meeting
is.
date instead of the first meeting.
There's been a little slight change where the head of the damage, wildlife damage for the state, Brad Cooley, has actually moved into the Northwest Wisconsin supervisor position. And so they're looking to backfill the head of the damage. And so something to know, I guess. It probably won't change anything. I know they'll pick a good person for that position, but
Different name on the letterhead.
there will be a different name. And I think if there's people that have questions directed at the state, Brad's no longer in that position and he's been there for like 18 years,
Okay.
a guy, but everything with the program, I don't think there's been anything planned to change this year either.
Nothing huge that would affect us. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the next meeting. We don't know the date yet, but we'll see you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say one quick,
I'll wait.
one quick comment is that they don't know the date yet, Cody.
Okay.
Just come every day.
Just come to every meeting, yep. We do. Okay. Apple River zoning, or do we want to jump to that so we know the date for them? Should we jump to 13, get that date so everybody knows? Let's do that.
That sounds a good idea.
Up to you.
Let's jump down to, let's pick a date so everybody that's here in and out knows what's going on.
Tentatively 15th is that's the yellow highlight there, Kim.
I see that. But yellow doesn't.
Did you want to, I mean, you can move it to the second if you want to go the following day to keep it in the first week so that you don't.
I already booked a flight. I won't be here because I knew we wouldn't have it.
Well, what are we having on the agenda then? Let's see. Well, that would be our second date that we usually have in a month, that we leave open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I
the
put it
15th.
there. That's why.
So that,
I move that our meeting for the January is the 15th.
I second
you don't have that power.
I second it.
I can't make a motion.
It's a consensus. We don't need a motion.
Sorry,
Too late, moved and seconded.
No. I can deny that.
Sounds like dictatorship, Kim.
That does. That's-
So,
I'll second her motion.
thank you. Well, and Sharon did too, so.
We do it next. No, so if everybody's, but we want to know if staff, is that all right with all the staff to work with them, for them?
The only thing, my only comment is that it might put a little bit of a time crunch on some of the ordinance information, but I think if you guys are willing to, when you
Time
get packets and
A month and a half.
there's a lot of things to
Yeah,
discuss.
there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so, but
But we don't have to finish that ordinance stuff. We still got February
and March, I mean,
and March, so we'll be all right.
perfect, all right.
But that's a good time. I mean, if that opens up January for everybody and doesn't make it too bad for staff and everything, then,
And it's still before the county board. meeting.
Yep.
yeah. So if anything has to go forward, we're still good that way. All right. So then that, you don't have to change yours. Well,
Don't change your plans.
all the rest already done? Are all the other meetings already changed to those dates?
They don't need anything.
They didn't need to change.
They didn't or didn't want to? Okay,
We're the only.
They didn't have any.
We're the only one on holiday, Kim.
all right. All right, it's on the 15th.
Perfect.
Now we can go back.
In the packet, you guys could see the town of Apple River, brought forward some amendments to their ordinances. It wasn't the entire ordinance that they submitted to Administrator, Hacker. It just basically showed things that were struck out, and things that were added. Just some notable high-level items. They added, another district they created a sixth district, and mentioned some things within shoreland. You know, they basically added that in there, it appears.
Shoreline, they added that it needs a permit, which
Right,
they say if it needs one, but if it's within 300 feet, it needs one,
right.
1,000
Because
feet. So we have that,
they also,
he has that ability to do that.
Mhm.
That would only be if they would,
they added some information about public nuisances that was notable, and added also enforcement and enforcement procedures. And struck some information regarding, mobile homes located outside of a mobile home park. You know, at this time in talking with Logan, I think that there was nothing, and with, Counselor, Loso, Council Loso. Thank you. There was nothing that was egregious against our land use, our comprehensive land use ordinance, or against our existing laws, that would stop these, amendments from being processed.
okay, so. Now in doing this, we don't have to go through their comp plan and see if it fits theirs. That's what they have to do. Is that correct?
Right, yes, that's
That's up to them.
right.
Make it work. Because I mean, when they take out mobile homes and all this, they're gonna have fun.
Yeah, they are.
So I mean, that's. Okay,
Their planning commission met and they went through their process.
and they went through their process and went through, so. It's not, and our comp doesn't have anything specific down to mobile homes, does it not? Our comp plan. So it does fit there,
Right.
okay. So I think the only thing I seen was that shoreline stuff that they have to almost put it should instead of just may or shall come to the county. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's the one question I had on it is,
The shoreline part where They,
saying that it's just our permit that, you know, they're pretty much, that's what it states as far as I'm
and they don't have to get one separately then.
there, yeah.
But it should be that. Wonder if it should have that 300,000 foot in there or something, or have them put that in there. That,
Well, the definition, if it might have been in
did they have
the
the definition?
original one.
Oh, their definition, sure.
Because no one from the town of Apple River is present at the meeting, if you guys wanted to postpone to date certain and answer any questions, you certainly can do that as well, but that's up to you.
If it's depending on, how worried are they or whatever about it, but I think just maybe that number, I have number 7 on our page 13. That we should maybe. So people know they have to get the permit. I think they leave it a little too discretionary. If a property owner is required to obtain, well, they are required to obtain.
Anybody within shoreline is
Yeah.
required.
It's required. So I mean, they should maybe,
Well, but what they're saying is that if they're required to obtain it from Polk County, that they don't need to get it from the town.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
So-
it has to be done anyway, because we do shoreline.
Right, right. But they're saying if it's required to get it from county,
And it is.
and it is, then they don't need to get it from the town. It's just clarifying that they don't need double permits.
Right.
So I don't know if that language is incorrect.
and I think they worked with some of the other towns that have their own zoning too and looked at their ordinances.
Yeah,
So
it just seems it's a little gray, that it could be defined better.
Ultimately, Kim, how they and their attorney advises them on how to draft their ordinance. Is
Yeah,
on
is
their
there-
attorney and is on
But I
their
mean-
board.
But we can suggest that it seems if
but there's other
instead of
areas,
shall
Sure.
in that. Because this opens that door, I think, to say, okay, well, we'll get it from the township. If we get a township permit, we're good.
And that will cause confusion for the people in the town of Apple River.
Yes.
Based on their ordinance. Our ordinance would still apply and they would still be required to
Yeah.
comply. So from our perspective, we can certainly note that those are problems.
Right.
And
I think that's
say
what we
think
should
you
do.
Should change that, but
To clarify it. They clarified half. Is what we're saying.
You're saying that
They
if someone's
clarified
within,
half.
if someone's within shoreland, they need to get the permit from the county, and they don't need to get
Not
an
if.
additional one.
Yeah.
Right, right.
but there's.
Well, but if someone is within shoreland zoning, so it is
Yeah.
if someone was within shoreland zoning, they need to get the permit from the county and they don't need an additional one from the town, is
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Yeah,
the use of the word if is not necessarily problematic. What you're saying, Kim, is
It is.
everyone is gonna have to do that, and that's.
If you're
again,
shoreline,
if
you
read
have to
the-
get a permit.
if you
Yeah.
Read what they have, just because it says if you are, then you have to. Well, you always have to, is what you're saying.
Right.
But that's fine. That doesn't make it wrong. It just,
No, it doesn't make it wrong, but to clarify, as soon as you put if in there, everybody tries to skip one of the layers in the processes. Well, you see it all the time, don't they? Can we not have to get this one?
If they.
I don't want to
one.
get a variance. I don't want this.
Yeah, I think the main question on that whole section is, as the other town zoned areas are currently, we're just enforcing the DNR standards in them and not uses in them.
Yes.
So there could be a certain use that's not currently being enforced in our ordinance that the town may enforce. So that's where I don't know if that's where they're going with it. If
Sure.
it's something that we require, then they're fine, but because there may be things that we're not requiring in these town zoned areas at the current moment.
Sure.
But
Or under the,
also-
whatever district, underlying district it is.
yes, and that's the other thing is, so they have a shoreline district, but do they have their zoning districts within that shoreline district? So, because all
Yeah.
their permitted uses,
For
I
underlying.
don't know if they have that underlying zoning district or if it's just the overlay and I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But
So it could overlay ag, it could overlay anything, or ag two, or industrial, it could overlay a lot. And what do we have? We have the 300 feet is residential in our zone part, don't we? Isn't that the first 300 feet around the lakes and stuff are res?
Class 1 lakes.
On class ones, okay. All right, I don't know, but I mean, that's, if we could help them just say, here's the troubles we have when you do word it. Where it doesn't get,
They're kind of close to us. Just give them a forgiveness card. Not permission.
they have that in here. If nobody catches you in 10 years, you get to leave it. I mean, that's even.
You're grandfathered in then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a young grandfather, 10 years. That's all I kind of really seen. I see they took a lot out, maybe. But they're the ones that have to do it, so. Logan, what did you think? That was about the only thing too, or not?
Yeah, I don't think anything else is completely out of line with our ordinance.
Just maybe a better definition of the shoreline, what has to come to the county and the rest they get, maybe, but. With that, do we move it on or do we have an answer to it or do we just
I say move it on.
just move it on?
I would.
Okay,
Make your motion, would you please make it to move it on to the consent calendar, please?
Sharon, go ahead. I'll second it then.
we don't do that here. We like to argue at the county board. Oh,
Make your motion.
this does need a motion to,
Consent.
Okay,
go ahead. I'm ready for the motion.
okay, that's the motion.
Move to
To
the
move to the
consent.
county board
Consent,
on the consent agenda.
yes,
I'll second it.
With recommendation?
with recommendation, yes.
Anyone else? Questions, any? Hearing none then, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Goes to the county board with recommendation.
I'll have a resolution for you to sign, Kim.
Okay. Number 10. Here we go.
Right, good morning, everybody. I'm Brad Runberg, the Polk County GIS Coordinator in the Land Information Office. Thanks for inviting me to demonstrate the beacon platform for you guys. Okay. As most of you guys are aware, WebGuide Stream was our legacy platform, and that ran between 2007 and 2023. And then that was hosted by Applied Data Consultants. And ADC sold their platform to Schneider Geospatial back in 2022. And throughout 2023, we transitioned or migrated over to our new Beacon platform. So we'll, I guess, navigate to the site right now.
Should I dim the lights?
Yes. Yes, that's
Sure, over there if you want.
So if you're on our main county website, you can just click on our maps logo there and go to the interactive maps and then a Polk County interactive map right here. And here's our portal or our link to the portal. The landing page here is where all of our search engines are. And I guess I was going to mention, if you want to interrupt me or steer me to what you want to know about our site, I do have a layout here that I'm going to go through. But if you have any questions, just let me know as I'm going through this. So our main landing page here, we have a maps tab, a search tab, an advanced search, and sales list. There is no help menu. Unfortunately, they do not have a help menu because it's supposed to be designed to be intuitive. But you can go down here and see the Polk County demo, or they do have videos. Schneider has some videos that are short videos that you can review how to do certain activities on the site. So let's see here. How do I jump back? Oh, here it is. Stuff in the way. All right. Actually, I'm going to go back out of this. I apologize. Here we go. There we go. So the site is designed to have our GIS map records, our survey records, our survey tie sheets, tax roll assessment, sales records, and zoning permits. All of our land records are kind of pointed to this one site for the public to access. So I'm going to start off here by just doing our simple search. You can see that we can search by a name, a property address, or a parcel ID number. I'm just going to search by Smith here. Hit our search button here. And you can see all the records that are returned with the name of Smith in it. I'm going to jump over to this record here. And this brings you to the reports tab, and you'll notice that we have more menu items up here. So when you do a search, you're going to get the search results. If you do an advanced search, you're going to get advanced search results, sales search, and a sales results. But here on the report, you can see that we have different categories here, and you can open and close all of these categories. And you can, if you don't want to see 5 years worth of data here, you can go to the columns and you can turn off and on different columns to eliminate what you want to be able to see on the report. So if you can print this report by hitting the print icon here and get that report. Not as used to navigating this site. Oh.
It doesn't all fit on one page.
Oh,
You always get a second page with that little bit on.
oh, sure. Yep. You can always,
When I print mine.
yeah, you can
I
always
get
go
that.
to, you can always jump to landscape too.
Okay,
Or go to print. Yeah, so if it bleeds over, if there's a lot of
right there,
information
you
there.
get just that little bit.
Sure.
Just print one page, the first page, you don't have to print both of them. Just print the first page.
So let's say for whatever reason, you can,
But now this one doesn't show the permits on the bottom of this one.
oh, yes.
There it does.
Yep.
Okay, you found, okay.
Yep, so yep, you jumped
Show
ahead
that,
there on
that's-
me. Yep, so here's the permits. You have the sales information here. Tax payments, tax history, valuations. Just want to show you quickly, if you wanted to close the owner information and you hit print here, you're going to see on the report that that information is no longer there. So I just wanted to point stuff out like that.
Okay.
You can email this link to somebody if they just want this page. I won't do that, but you can just email the link to this page. And since I search for all the Smiths in the county, you can scroll from record to record here for all those Smiths in that one list. So I just want to point that out to you as well. All right, so the site is designed to be dynamic with the actual map records. So since we search for Smith, if I jump over to the map, the record I'm on, it should zoom into the record that I'm on here. So it's right there, but you can see down below, all those search results in the search engine are now displayed below. And if I zoom out to the county level, you're going to see all the Smiths in yellow, all those properties with a Smith in yellow. But again, the property that I selected is right here in blue. Again, once you do a search in a search engine, the only way to unselect those search records are to clear the selections right here in the map window. So if you're doing a search or an advanced search, the only way to clear those selections is to, again, jump over to the map, go to the tool bar and clear the selection. I'm going to do Smith one more time. And when you're on this basic search window, you can go scroll down to the bottom and you can download these records only by mailing labels. So if you have this mailing label size, you can create mailing labels from there, or you can go to the Excel and create an Excel download of those records. And let me know, Mr. McConnell, if I'm going too slow or anything, or tell me how much time I have.
You got all the time in the world.
All right,
because
a lot
A lot
of,
of this, I think is more realtors and stuff too,
yep.
to get into it. I'd like to get into more of the map now and get where I can get, like the one you did show came up with contours.
Yep. Is that what you
We
want me
have
to jump
zoning
to now? Do
districts, and then I'd like to see, how do you get the dimensions on the property
Sure.
lines?
you want me to jump to that now or go through the rest of the
Go
search
through,
tab?
go through this too, because this is
Okay.
good to know that.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump back to the map and clear this. Okay, so now I'm gonna do an advanced search. So you can search for anything in the advanced search by all these different fields, and they're pulling the information from the tax roll. So the results will have all the different categories that you see here when I do a search for this. So I'm gonna search for the city of Amory and do a search on that. So you're gonna get all those results, and again, it's pretty fast. The nice thing about this is you can download all these results in an Excel file, or various other file types as well, or the CSV file. So again, the results will have all these fields. You can come over here to the columns and you can turn different fields off that you don't actually want to see in your results window. You can print these off as well. The nice thing about the advanced search is that you can download all the results, and you can also scroll down to the bottom here. And you can create mailing labels again, create a mailing list of all these results as well. So I'm going to clear this results map here. Now I'll do a sales search. Again, this is new to this site. We did not have this option in WebGuide Extreme, so this is a nice site for realtors or, various people, assessors that want to keep track of sales. So I'm just going to do a quick sales search, maybe for the last 6 months. We'll start at June 1st and we'll just go to the 1st of December. All these results are based on what has been processed by the real property lister. So if they have not caught up to December, it's just based on how far they've caught up to their processing of their documents. So I'm going to quickly do sales that are in Amory between those dates and hit search. And there we go. We got the sales results for that. You can turn on the data that you want to see, and maybe you don't need to see the townships, range, and section that all those properties are located in. You can go to the bottom and you can download this as an Excel file, or again, you can print this information.
So I'm following along and on my phone here on the Beacon site.
Yep.
And so some of these, like, now you don't necessarily have the city of Amory. I might have just, and I may or may not, I kind of was clicking along, but how come there's places where I got sale prices 0?
That just means that there wasn't a transaction of money for that sale. So it could have been something that was just, I don't know all the reasons behind it. It's just that there wasn't an exchange of money at the time. So
Interesting, because
it
there's
could be
quite a few of them.
it could be a deed to putting something to a trust.
Oh, okay, got
Something
it.
like that.
Oh, sure, White Pines Trust. Yep, there we go.
So, okay, let's close that.
Or Repeaters Trust, yeah, just transferring names.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna jump back to the map.
That's how they get your name to send you an offer. Hey, I'm gonna buy, I'd like to.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
like to burn all those people. They just make me angry.
So
How
again,
easy it is
here's
to get the list.
Oh, I know.
here's the properties that in the city of Amory that were sold during that time frame that I set. So you can see all those records right there. So I'm gonna
Well, not necessarily sold, so it could be transferred too.
Right.
Sold or transferred.
Yep. Could have been quick claim deed or something like that.
Right, or transferred into a trust or, yeah, LLC. Yep.
But something moved.
It,
Right.
yeah,
The
it had to be
property
recorded.
moved,
The
yeah.
property had to move, so it had to be recorded.
Something was recorded. Yep.
So we pretty much did go through, I showed you the reports of certain results. So if we are on the website here, I don't, I'm not sure why these are all showing up here.
That's how it works when you go on it.
When you
Yeah, yeah.
click
it does.
contours and, well, the blue is for the shoreline.
So,
The green is public land.
yep. Well, some of these, these are different land types. Okay, so on the main site, I'm gonna go through the list here. You're gonna notice that we have groupings of different map layers. If you wanna open the grouping under the districts and voting, you just click it open, you can see all the different layers. If there's not a check mark next to it, that means that that layer is not visible. So now that layer turned on, the state assembly districts and District 28 right here. And you're gonna notice if I keep on zooming out for these, eventually this turns to a lighter gray. That means that's not visible at this map scale that I'm on. So if you're ever on the site and you clicked it on, you can't see anything, that's the reason behind it. So, so emergency management, we have various emergency management layers here. We also have emergency management layers that are not visible to the public. And so that's where you had to create an account and we can give you permission to see some of those layers. So again, like Lisa McMahon over at Emergency Management, we have a whole bunch of layers that are not viewable to the public, but she has access to it because she has an account. We've given her permission to see those. Their highway department has some layers that we don't show to the public. So there's just different reasons. Again, if you were to create an
What
account,
would be a reason not to let the public see that layer,
just some sensitive information.
such as?
So pipeline locations,
Pipeline locations, you don't want the public to know?
Well,
for a
if somebody was
pipeline?
trying to do something,
Areas.
So I call Digger's Hotline, they mark it right away.
Yep.
But it's not out there for everyone to see.
It's not out
right.
It's a lot
Some of that
Like the realtors that can go get what you paid for the
Yeah.
20 acres you just bought.
Yeah.
There's hazardous material locations.
You know,
Hazmat.
There's various data sets.
And we don't think the public should know where that is.
not the general public, because it's not just people in Polk County looking at it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
all right.
Okay.
Just kind of wondered why we're being secretive.
Well, in general, Wisconsin is a very open
Correct.
records law state. But there are some things that are protected.
There's, even though you can probably find some of this information like wireless communication towers, some of that stuff is not
Doesn't
just
hurt to make it,
available
make it
out
a little
there.
harder for them to find
Yeah.
rather than at their fingertips.
It's,
Nothing wrong with
they
it.
can find it faster than we can.
Probably.
So I just,
Doesn't mean we have to make it easy.
yeah, so obviously you can go through and see the various layers that we have here. And you can turn things on, turn things off.
So where do I get the one, to show some of the dimensions? Where,
Okay,
some of the
so,
lots have half the dimensions or just frontage, they don't have depths.
yep.
I'm just wondering how that works, or
So.
is
when-
it just
when-
too much to get on there?
No, it is out there. Let me, if it's under the parcel mapping, public land survey system information. Let me just zoom into a spot here. Let me think here. Where was I gonna go in this area? So
It's like a cluster mess.
back in 2022.
Addressing, yeah.
Back in 2022, the county transitioned a lot of our parcel mapping records into what they call a parcel fabric. And in order, in the process of doing that, it has not been completed. There's a lot of data cleanup that has to be done. But we do have two locations where the parcel dimensions are located. So you're gonna notice here that you see some of the parcel dimensions. Actually, let me turn off the contours here.
I can see my house.
So you can see your house.
Yeah, you see the 40 new ones across the
I
street.
can see the 40 new ones. That's when you put that up, I started laughing. That's, brand new. Impact 7.
And no taxes, pay no taxes.
Well, of course not.
It looks just here.
So
And the truss is up. No.
you're gonna see
No
some
recycling.
data right here.
35 bucks.
And we actually have, unfortunately, at this time, we have two dimension layers. We have this dimension map layer and this parcel dimension layer. Eventually, the goal is to get all the dimensions off of this layer over to here. It's just a time-consuming process that the parcel mappers have to go through. So there is two parcel, like I said, two parcel dimension layers that you have to turn on to see all the layers. So here's some of the old historical parcel, or dimension.
Okay, but that's in the village. How about out in the country?
Yeah, it's wherever they were before should still be out there.
Okay.
So,
Have to click on that layer, Ken.
yeah, you just have to
I've
make
got,
sure
I've
that,
got every layer possible and I've got the frontage is all. I don't get side lot lines and some of these other ones.
Does it matter if you're in satellite view versus map view?
it doesn't, no.
Okay.
So here's one I'm on, just south of where that is. It's only showing the 176. It doesn't show me any depths.
Yeah.
You know, that's just Dresser on 90th and I have
You have
all
both of them on? Yep.
I got all of them on.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you for
And
sure.
some of the subdivisions don't have it either,
Yeah,
you know?
yep.
Cause it'll, when it says the CSM, then it just tells you to go to the CSM and you have to read it or whatever, come to the zoning. to
Sure,
get it, or
gotcha.
Register of deeds to get it.
The intent is to eventually get that all populated, especially if it's been if it's in a plat or a certified survey map or something like that.
Sure.
If it's been in a survey, if it's a meets and bounds description, historically, that has not been put out there. That
Or map of
information.
survey doesn't, cause that's not registered.
Nope, map of survey.
Some
if
of
they're-
those are in there.
They should be in there as well.
Some of those, okay.
So, but, again, the goal is to get all that populated as time goes on,
Okay.
so. So let me just make sure I'm covering some of this, turn on enough layers. So there is a little bit of an issue with the scale bar down here, but I just want to make note that in the lower left-hand corner, if you can click on whatever scale you want to be on. There's some issues with that, and Schneider Geospatial is aware of some of those issues that they have to make some fixes, but that's a quick way of zooming in and zooming out of the county. If you just go down here and click on those scales. Let me just go through these tools really quickly. If you use the identify tool, if you click on that, the normal mode, if you just click on a parcel, you can click on it and you can click on it to get the report, go back to that. You can go to the hover tool if you're on the hover tool. If you just hover over a parcel, you can get that information as well. Just a brief information and then click on that report. You'll notice that the parcel layer here is the active layer because there's a box around it. So that's the only information that you're going to return results on. But if you click on a different layer, like let's go to addresses. If I click on that, you're going to see that that highlights and now that becomes the active layer. So now if I hover over, click on that. Now I can retain information by selecting that parcel information, and you're going to notice that that's the record that I selected down below. I'm going to get the address information for that location. So by default, the parcels are the active layer because that's what most people are trying to get results from. So that for any layer, there's a database or there's a table behind those map features that you can retain information from. All right, now let's go to the zoom tool. You can again zoom in, zoom out quickly. I want to make note that if you click on the zoom to XY tool, that you can quickly get the, if you have coordinates for a location, you want to be able to see those coordinates on the map, you can just simply select that. I'll do a quick one here. Let's zoom. And if I turn our aerial photography back on here, you can see that that brings us to the government center. And I'm going to clear that result. So you can just click on these tools and you'll notice that most of these tools have a drop down that you can use the other various tools in there. Now I'm gonna go back to here. Just to let you know, if the select tool is the default tool that has the arrow, that's how you can drag the, drag around on the map. But let's, again, if we want to select, I'll show you how to do this really quickly. The nice thing about this site is if you click on a parcel, you can,
Show me, Brad, of mine, why I don't have those,
what's that?
that top bar on that.
Oh, you might have to turn it. Just turn it landscape, turn your whole map or close. It's just because not all the tools are showing up.
Oh,
Oh,
Because
see,
there's a
I
group-
just did that. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
turned it.
go that way, go to
Yeah.
landscape. Turn your whole, there you go. And this.
I got my no rotate.
Oh, you have the no
Drives
rotation.
me crazy.
Oh,
Spin
gotcha.
it all the time.
So that's probably what you'd want to do, I
Okay.
guess.
You better get a new one.
No, if
You need a bigger one.
if you take 2 steps and it does this all the time, it drives you crazy.
So you can click on multiple records. Let's say you want to know these 5 or these 4 records. You can just keep on clicking on each one. You don't have to hit down your control key or anything. Again, this is dynamic, so I just want to show you, if you go to the, back to, let's go to search results. You're going to see that those 4 records are now selected in your search results. So you can download your mailing labels. I just want to jump back to the map here. I'm going to clear this.
So it has a measuring tool also,
Yep. So
which
yeah,
is
yeah, we can quickly do the measurement.
just do one because usually when that comes up, it covers the spot you're trying to do.
Yep, and they're aware of a little issue with that as well,
You
unfortunately.
go in to measure it and all of a sudden there's a box over what you want to see.
Correct,
So you
yes.
got to play the game, move it, and then start over and move it again.
Yep, so
Okay, so it isn't just me, it's everybody's.
It might be just you, Kyle.
I think it
Wait
is.
and see, yeah. It covers what you want to measure and all of a sudden there you sit going like, well, I
yes.
didn't.
So the nice thing about most of these tools is you can move them around, but yeah, if you do you want to measure this, you have to make
Measure
sure.
distance, yeah.
Yep, you have to make sure you want to include your distances.
Yeah.
Yep, and then it's showing you that, but yeah, once I end that, by double clicking,
I've done that.
there is,
It is pretty handy.
there can be situations where this label is covering up the,
The box will come down over that
yeah,
usually
see,
a lot
right,
of
like
times.
right that. And they are aware of that issue. So,
That it doesn't go up to a corner or something.
Yep.
Even when you do on one, to get the report, sometimes we'll cover up the house too and everything.
so if you are sketching an area, a lot of people use the site to create site plans for different locations. So just to quickly, since we have a couple lines there, you can click on the select tool and select that line. And you can delete that feature, or you can edit that feature, do what you got to do with that, or delete it. You can add a label.
Finding lot lines. Is that what you're doing that for?
Well, yeah, because when it doesn't show the numbers on it, I try to measure that myself, what it is, or close.
Okay, so it's a lot line.
It's almost, yeah, lot lines or whatever, or else if I do a soil test or they want to put a house in the middle of the lot, you can measure the distance to how long, your driveway's gonna be 210 feet long.
So let's say
Otherwise, you gotta
somebody,
wheel it.
oh, go ahead.
No, otherwise, like here with the trees and everything, say you want to put a house in the middle of that, they want an estimate how to get there. Well, it's 280 feet off the road. That's how long it's gonna be in, without having to walk it all the time.
Oh, okay.
So you could measure it to the middle of these bigger sections like this, or especially in the woods, and hit a spot and say, here's where the hill is. Cause you have the contours too and go, this is what it's gonna take to get there at least. Otherwise, we always had to walk it with a wheel or a tape measure and stuff.
So a lot of
But you
people,
can find a lot line and try to measure it and be close, but you just don't wanna say that's exact. Like on these, I would take and measure, it's 176, but it's like 230 deep. I would just take and measure that. And it's 231 or something that I'm close. I could at least find it out there.
so a lot of people use this site to draw up some site plans. We just have a couple I added a site plan name right there and a dimension line there. You can do a simple download of this map. I'm gonna download it as a JPEG.
So what's a JPEG? That
Just
GPG,
a-
but,
Picture.
It's a
Yeah.
picture image.
Picture
Yep.
image.
So I'm gonna open that really quickly.
and there's two different kinds. What's the other one?
PDF,
Ping, I think it was.
Or-
Was
Ping
that-
or whatever, yeah.
PNG.
PNG, yep.
And what's the difference?
Just a file format.
Okay.
It does the same thing.
Some aren't compatible with depending with your program. Like some programs won't open PNGs.
Right.
Okay.
If you send it to like a different computer or to your phone or whatever, it might not open it.
So the state,
Program or something or.
Yeah,
because the state sends me different stuff and different deals
Right.
like that, and you have to make sure you get something that'll open.
right, that'll open it,
Save that.
exactly.
So Chrome will open it and some other ones.
Right,
Sure.
correct.
But see now, like for land and water too, they can measure stuff in square footage to get impervious surfaces. And that all comes up when they can do a site plan, like say we're doing a new house, are they gonna disturb 10,000 square feet or not? You can draw them around there and stuff, and it tells you how many square feet right away.
That sales amount, that's odd that there's so many that have zero.
It is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I mean, I know the houses that sold and what they sold for, and it shows zero in here. It's different.
Maybe it's for updating.
That's why our sales tax are down.
Recent sales or?
Well, this one is within the last year. People live next door to me. I know they paid money for it. They didn't give them the house.
That's why sales tax are down, isn't it, Mo?
Wait a minute, what are you talking, that's a totally different thing.
No, that's sales tax. We get 5% of that. What the hell? Let's get
A
after
year
that.
ago, August, it sold.
So really quickly, another way of selecting multiple parcels is you can do a polygon. If I wanted to kind of draw whatever is within that polygon will be selected. I'm going to clear that selection. You can select by a freehand. So let's just say I just go like this. For whatever reason, and all those properties that were within that area are now selected. You can clear that, select them.
So does that work for zoning for the 300 feet that we have to send the
Yep.
letters out?
Yep, so.
They can do it that
yep.
way?
So we're gonna do a
Okay.
spatial selection. Let me jump back here. To do a spatial selection, I'm gonna click on a parcel, and whatever is within a certain distance of this parcel is your spatial selection. We're gonna do a buffer of 100 feet. And we want to get all the records that are from the parcel layer, and we're gonna hit select. And there you go. So again, if you jump back to, whoops.
So zoning can use that then and put the 300 foot around.
Yep, a lot of
be safe.
municipalities use that. So here's the search results of all those properties within that distance, and you can do a mailing list from here.
Here we thought you were doing this all manually. You guys, your job is so easy.
Yeah.
He's out driving around. He's gone for half a day.
Give them the
He
tools.
goes out driving, half a day driving around, writing down addresses, yeah.
I think a lot of,
My 300 foot tape out.
There you go.
to Sharon's question, a lot of the property information, like changing hands and all that, won't roll over till January 1 of the next year. So if you sell something in March, it'll still stay in the same name all the way through until January 1 of the next
Yeah.
year.
But it'll be
Yeah.
listed as
Like
sold.
I'm looking
it
at
just
my
won't-
house.
It
It
won't
tells
roll.
me I paid nothing for it.
Right. It won't
Wow.
roll over.
Good
You're
for
just
you, yay!
Would you sell yours for nothing?
Because it doesn't
broke
update till
even.
the next tax
Three,
year.
zero.
Yeah, it's a tax cycle.
Again, you can do a print. If you use the print icon, you can see that this window shows up. And that just shows you what's going to be in the printout. I like to change it to landscape. You can include a title, a subtitle, an author. You can turn on or turn off some of these other features that you may not want to see on the printout. So I'm just going to hit a down here.
Cause some will have the boundaries or the perimeter on it, won't it?
Oh,
And all that. Yeah.
I guess this is blocking the pop-up, you guys,
It's
so.
blocking.
And again, you can do a quick download, so if you just want to see what's in the image here and not do a print, you can certainly do that and save that. Upload is something that if you are a GIS user and you have your own data, you can upload that data and overlay that information on top of our maps here at the county. Most people don't have that capability of doing that. Let's see here. Kim, I don't know if there's anything else you really want me to dive into. That's kind
Well,
of
most of the other, I mean,
highlights so much.
the voting districts have, I mean, but it does show shoreline,
Yep. Oh, I was gonna mention these. So we do have these saved
Yep.
maps.
some of those on the side.
Yeah,
Yep.
I completely forgot to do this. So default is the main map, but we do have a health, a land and water surveyor and zoning maps. I should highlight the surveyor map here really quickly. Basically what it's doing, it's the survey map adds a couple features, search engines. You can search our tie sheets. So I don't know how many of you are aware, but we have section corners throughout the county, and that's how most legal descriptions are derived from our section corners, our quarter corners. So right here is actually a survey corner. By default, if you go to the surveyor site, you're gonna see that that is the search, the default map layer that we have, and you can see that a tie sheet search is over here. You can type in the this number if you know the number that you're trying to search for, that section corner number, or you can do you can search by the type of corner, if it's in the center of the section, if it's a meander corner, a quarter corner, or a section corner. You can search that way, or by a town section range. But I'm just gonna select this one really quickly. Since it's our default layer, you can select that, and I like to use this select by rectangle because you can draw a box around that. And here's the record. If I click on that, it's gonna pop up this window, and then you can get the tie sheet, the information that the county surveyor maintains about that section corner.
That's cool.
It's cool.
So that,
Really, engineers and surveyors are typically the ones that will utilize this site, but it's
Sure.
definitely
But
available.
come out and resurvey, for a CSM, they tie this all in this way.
So good to,
Yep.
you ever want to know where the actual section corner was?
Yeah.
and the other thing that's new for this website version, the Beacon version that we didn't have on our Web Guide Extreme is our survey index is now located within this Beacon site. So from here, it searches for all the surveys or recorded documents in the county, but you can only retain the non-recorded documents that are generally filed in the county surveyor's office. So you can search by instrument, various instruments. So you can get PD mappa surveys, you can get mappa surveys from this site.
You can get map of surveys.
Correct. Yep.
Hit on that, see if 1688 comes up.
1688.
Yes.
So it looks like there's possibly 3 documents, and here's the map of survey right there. And once you click on that record down below, it'll open up the window and you can click that document, and there it is.
Okay,
Is that
so there's
open?
worse than 1688, okay.
There's a PD map of survey there's a certified survey map that's a 1688.
Okay.
So you can narrow that
There's
down
some
by,
other ones, yes, because this one's on Cedar Lake,
oh, okay.
but if we go on that lot and do it, it won't give you that, will it?
No,
In the report, does it give, yeah, it will, won't it?
it won't give you this information. So this
But
one,
it'll give you that number.
You gotta go to the survey site.
No, but
oh yeah, I see
you
what
know,
you're saying.
see what
Yeah.
I'm saying on the report?
Yeah, you'll
It'll
see
give
it
you a
at,
Map of survey, if it says 1688, you can hit that, but then you can go backwards and find it here.
yep, yep.
That would be the way to find it that way, without going to register of deeds or to the surveyor.
Yep. Are you saying that if you see the blue icon here, Kim, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, okay, I'm on my site, I'm just gonna hit this one.
If the survey number is recorded on the report, you could click on that survey number and it'll bring you to that site. to
Because
see
you
the
can't get a survey
certified
map, a certified survey map, you have.
Oh,
to
I
get it
see
from
what you're
Register of
saying.
Deeds.
Yeah,
But there you
yes.
just showed it to you.
Yeah. So
Map
this,
of survey,
yeah,
that's different. I can get that.
Got it.
The Register of Deeds, I gotta pay for it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're statutorily required to pay for certain
Sure.
And
Documents.
it's a certified survey.
And that's the one, but map of surveys are
Non-recorded.
non-recorded, but
Yep.
they're at the surveyor, and then you have to go down there and get them.
Yep, so all those survey
Those are
documents
things I didn't know.
from the surveyor's office should be out here.
Should be out
Yeah.
there, so we can
Good thing
find
we're
it
having
there.
a lot.
Okay,
Yep.
so then.
So I think this is the one you're referring to. It's PD map, it's a PD map of survey 1688,
Okay,
and
Should be able to click on that.
here it is.
there it is, right there,
That's
that
the one you're
one.
looking for.
So it does come up as that, because I couldn't find it before, and then Ed brought it up to us.
What are you gonna do the rest of the day now? He's doing your work for you.
No,
Yeah, I
I
know.
did that yesterday, so I'm good.
Okay, so that takes care, so these individual maps, provide, so if we go to zoning here,
I know you have to uncheck.
it's already gonna highlight,
Otherwise, it's a big.
it's gonna turn on and off certain layers, and this one already has all the planning and zoning grouping open. So as you zoom in here, some of those layers will start activating. So it's just kind of a quick reference to get to certain data. The legend tab, so you're gonna notice that there's a layers tab of all this information, but if you jump over to the legends tab, anything that's visible at this current map scale will show up under the legend here on the left-hand side.
So maybe that's the key.
Another neat thing is that you can click on this, on the upper right-hand corner, you can click on full screen to get a better view, and this hit escape to go back down, then you kind of eliminate those menus. If you, let's zoom in here.
What's the best?
Your house again.
Have the one.
Deer Lake.
Oh, yeah, 1383.
Yeah, I know where you live. See, they watch you.
Jeez.
Yeah, I usually know that.
Another
Search
neat
it.
thing,
1383.
My husband does this and he's so.
if you click on the upper right-hand corner again and click on the imagery slider, you can slide this tab. And I don't know if I'm in an area that has changed much, but you can see from year to year what has changed. So right here in the bottom right corner there, you can see a new house was built in 2020. Our imagery is 10 years apart. It just helps zoning to have 10 years apart in our imagery. So we're gonna be collecting imagery this coming spring in 2025. So then we'll have our 2025 imagery and our 2015 imagery out here once we get that information. But it's kind of a neat little
Oh,
tool.
that is cool.
And you can see the difference in resolution as well. I believe in 2010, we had
No, yeah.
it was a
wasn't
12-inch imagery, and then in 2020, it was 6-inch.
Yes.
So
And this next imagery will have 3
Well, it's three.
have
Yeah.
3-inch imagery.
So,
Wow.
Bye-bye privacy.
So we're gonna get some good
Yeah,
detail.
exactly.
Come a long way.
you know, when does the LiDAR come in on this?
So
Cars out of your yard that shouldn't be there.
So the LiDAR day, we're actually going to be getting in 2025 too. We're going to be working with Ayers and Associates, and we're going to be obtaining a platform for our ortho imagery.
Okay.
Since the data is so gigantic, it's really hard to put that data, the LiDAR imagery or LiDAR data on this site. It's just very
It's too
bulky.
much.
It's too much.
Okay,
So that's why we're going to be getting there.
and that'll be a separate platform?
There'll be a
for that?
separate platform for
Okay.
this one, yeah. So once we get that completed in 2025, that'll be a very neat tool to have. Is there any other questions? Like there's a lot to unpack here and, yeah.
And Shabana knows it, but I think I've graduated from 4th grade to 5th, so when I ask, I embarrass myself.
Yeah,
But when I look up a site and put report, then it takes up half the screen and yours stays down on the bottom.
See that?
oh, okay, so, yep, so, so do you mean if you click on a parcel or something like that,
Just
or?
a parcel number and then I hit report, then the whole, it says results and instead of having a few lines down here like it used to do, now it pops up and it takes up half the screen.
Okay,
Yeah, this
And I
should
have
a
to
little.
click on the right and then click close.
oh, yep, so yeah, so right here, I
So
just
like
clicked
that.
on a property and here's the list. Now you can, on the left, you can minimize that, so you don't see that. And then you can open that back up. Again, if I click on more, you're gonna see that the results on the bottom keep on adding up.
But you have more covering your screen, right, Doug? That box on the bottom is higher up.
Yes. There
So
is-
I
Jump way up.
wonder, I guess, I don't know if I have control over that.
Let me see.
I thought,
Do you have a smaller
Mine does it.
screen maybe?
I thought maybe on the right
Is your
hand side, there was a
screens
place to
pretty
actually.
small?
It's not, you know,
Okay.
it's a laptop.
Yeah, because I'm not sure that you have control over that
Yeah,
necessarily.
maybe not.
So yeah, you can go to the right and close that. And again, from here, you can also download the records that you have selected,
I don't need that.
clear selection. I'm not sure why that is on your screen, I guess.
Okay.
But
Sometimes too, when you go to print, it'll do that too. It'll cover the bottom of the box that you have to stop, drag it up
yes,
to get it to work because it's hidden under the bars.
yep, these are all,
This box, yeah,
all
because
these
you have to go
tools are
through land.
movable. So yep, a lot of times you do have to move
You have
this
to
out
take
of
and
the way.
move it up
Yep,
or go to full. Doug, what I have to do is go to full screen. Otherwise
They
Like
got
the
you
top bar
still
doesn't
full
work a
screen,
lot.
So I'm watching that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what, like that box comes on to print, mine's always halfway down. So you always gotta pull that box up to make sure you get it right, because otherwise you get the bars and all the other stuff.
this is designed better on a desktop than it is on a mobile.
Yep,
The mobile app has less features, you'll notice.
just eats it up.
Yep, so there's a lot of space there and a lot of things you might have to close on a mobile app.
Like,
You might want to get a bigger desktop.
you can get
I got a bigger
you can
desktop.
get a bigger
I
iPad,
got-
Kim.
That's what I have. I know.
Be about like
So did we get everything summarized well for you guys?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think so. That was a lot of the.
Yeah.
The only thing I would add is when you're on your mobile, I don't know if everyone knows that you can hit your location and it'll put right where you're at.
Yeah.
So some people try to get close to their lot lines that way. I mean,
Yeah.
if your location's
Yeah,
on your
make
phone.
Make sure your location
Yeah.
services
Where's
are
that
on your mobile app.
Where does it say location on this one?
Do you have your location services active?
In your privacy settings, do you have your location
Yeah,
on?
it's that button right,
It's like it looks like
it's the button right below those three there.
The three links
should put you right in this building.
should put me in the
Yeah,
building.
so if you hit that icon right there,
Oh,
that's your.
here. Let's just see.
Think you're lying to.
Turn up the lights, you think?
Mhm.
I think Tim has a few things to
Don't
add.
want to eat Pullman. I'm at her house, huh?
Are you?
That's what it said. But you know, I hit the button and then it did whatever map I was on, it did it there. So let's see if it does it this time.
Change up.
There, yeah, it got me here. It just had the first time I hit it, whatever map I was on, it was the parcel under it. It went to that one. And it's got me on the east side of the building even.
There you go.
Here, is it okay if Tim Anderson adds a few comments on the backside of the? presentation?
Absolutely. The more we know about it and get it, people to know about it, the better.
Okay. Oh, can I mention one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I got distracted. I was just gonna say, since we launched Beacon, we've had 165,000 visits. And this has been 1 year. So last December is when we went live. And we've had 2.6 million interactive requests. That means when you're interacting with the site, it keeps track of all those different various requests. So we've had 2.6 million requests. So
At the point.
it shows that it's really being utilized.
My husband.
Identified by name, how many things Kim had.
Seriously?
30%.
Largest user.
Yeah, there you go.
It will count.
That'll be next. Do that the next feature, Brad.
What's
The main users
Oh, there you go.
Tracking of who's using.
by household.
Number 10.
Super user, yeah.
Well, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
First of all, thanks, Brad, for that presentation. That was great. I thought I'd just take a couple minutes here to give you some background information about the Land Information Department, since what we just seen is a really powerful tool, right? And it has a lot of information out there. And a tool like that wouldn't be as powerful or as useful if the data behind it wasn't working, wasn't good, wasn't up to date, wasn't created and maintained. So thought I'd just take a couple minutes to talk about the Land Information Department. I know Land Information Department typically includes our surveyor,
We've got our land information technician, real property lister, GIS, and planning, along with zoning. I'm gonna leave zoning out of it for today. And just talk about kind of those core functions. I kind of view us as the little department that could. We've got 5 people doing a lot of work here in the county and a lot of stuff that, for behind the scenes, that matters to other departments, the citizens, the businesses, the residents of this county, that if it wasn't available, things wouldn't go as well. So I think showing what our site at Beacon can do and all the information that's at your fingertips these days versus maybe what it was even 5-10 years ago is remarkable. I think one of the key things for us is a month ago, you guys passed the budget, right? So getting the revenue to be able to actually implement that budget might be a critical thing for us to do. So having accurate tax bills and getting to the right people with the right assessments and all that fun stuff, it's something that the Land Information Department is absolutely essential in making sure that those things happen. Emergency management. Brad works really closely with our dispatch folks and emergency management folks to make sure they have the mapping, accurate background information, parcel information to get people to the right places and respond to emergencies in a timely fashion and not send them to the wrong places. Brad has worked diligently in the last year to upgrade our systems to NG 911, next generation 911, and that required incredible amount of work to get our data to be synchronous with the platform that they have there and make sure that there aren't any critical errors and that kind of stuff. And I know that was a monumental task for Brad, so appreciate his work. Before I go any further, I do want to make sure that each of them, Paula, Tracy, Brad, Ed, are thanked for their work that they do. It's not an easy task, and the work that they do is pretty much always up to here for them. And I would want to thank them for their work. They're a real asset to the county, and it's a pleasure to be a manager for you guys. So thank you for that. I thought I'd just go a little bit into each one, just spend a couple minutes on each section of the Land Information Department and give kind of an overview. And then if you have any questions or need any follow-up, you can let me know. So I think most people in the county feel like having accurate information about the owned property that they have is critical, is important. And the main thing that we can do providing that is maintain the public land survey system, PLSS. That's what all of your descriptions are based off of in the county. So making sure that those points around the county are accurately maintained and located in the county is a critical function. Our surveyor, our county surveyor does that function for us for the county. We have all those section corners noted and they're being maintained if they ever get disrupted or those kind of things. And getting all of those located and described well in tie sheets was no small task, and maintaining was no small task either. I think having that piece of information is super critical for, saving taxpayers money if they want to do their own survey so that they don't have to go reestablish those things, but paying a private survey to do that. So the fact that we have that information ready and available for anybody that needs it is a critical piece. Our parcel mapping is based on that information, unlike some other areas in the state. And so our parcel mapping records are a lot more accurate than maybe some other places in the state. So that's also helpful. While they're not survey grade on the mapping, they're dang close. And so getting that information in the hands of the user groups is fantastic. The GIS mapping, the surveyor works on any changes to boundary lines or subdivisions. They enforce the subdivision ordinance along with zoning and review any proposed major or minor subdivisions that come through the county. They work on making sure that these descriptions are accurate and that they're processed properly. Real property listing. They also work on processing recorded documents for ownership changes, annexations, any court orders, transportation project plats, and other miscellaneous requests. They maintain the real estate tax roll, which is a critical piece. And they include things like the property description, any acreage adjustments, usage terms, property classifications, valuation updates, those kind of things. Just want to give a shout out to Tracy and Paula. On average, they do 3,500 to 4,000 documents a year. And so if you put that into perspective, when we have 260 work days, that's 12 to 15 a day that they process. So keeping those records updated and accurate for our residents and making sure that they're processed in a timely fashion is a huge lift for them. So. In addition, the property lister provides those assessment roles for municipalities and their boards of review, which is a critical piece for local government. Brad has covered quite a bit of what he does in the GIS world, but managing all these different GIS data sets and records and creating them is a monumental task. We have incredible amounts of data that get managed on a daily basis and are served up there for everyone to use. I already mentioned the Next Gen 911. It's been also mentioned that orthoimagery comes through every 5 years. That's a program that I think has been really successful here in the county. It's really useful to have updated aerial photography. You guys in the budget approved a new flight. And this year, we're going to go from 6-inch to 3-inch, partly due to us getting a grant from the Department of Military Affairs that covers the difference in cost between the 6-inch and the 3-inch, which is about $100,000. So it's a pretty big deal. Recreation has been a huge deal for us in the county in the last 5-10 years. Brad did a ton of work putting together a recreation viewer. It has all the different uses out there. You can select by different uses. That's also on the online maps portion of our website. It's a really powerful tool and something that we can keep building on and utilizing going forward. And then, as Brad mentioned, the LiDAR viewer coming up in 2025. One thing that we did get this year that will help with our NG911 data set is we had a GIS intern, and we had that ability to get that through a grant program through the Wisconsin Land Information Program. The intern we had this summer helped with these larger buildings like apartment complexes, government offices, schools, all that have like different units or rooms within them that we don't have accurate information for. So gathering that information using an intern that was paid for by a grant, now our urgent emergency responders especially have more accurate information about, hey, apartment 301 is on fire. Where is that in this building? Now they're going to have more information about what that property looks like and where that is actually located within the building. So a win-win for us, I'd say. Let's see here.
I had a question with.
Yeah.
So we have all that data. Is that data gonna be given to us in our dispatch log?
I believe so. I don't know, Brad, do you know?
Because it's good to have it, but if you don't get it, we're not gonna be sitting on our phone. I'm a fireman.
Yeah, right.
We're not gonna be sitting on our phone looking at the building. I mean, is that gonna be coming through dispatch to give us those, hey, it's the third one on the first floor?
I don't know exactly how you would work with dispatch on that. So the basic goal is these records are sub-address records, and it helps with the call routing of it. So NG 911 is now heavily dependent on GIS data. So that information is in the dispatch center, but it's also at a state in our AT&T 911 database provider. So it just helps with the call routing of those 911 calls. That's the biggest thing. But I think the intent is eventually to gather those records and provide them to dispatch and those site plans of, architectural plans and all that. It hasn't been done at this point. The internship just ended this past summer. So the goal is to get it to a spot where at least the dispatch center has access to, and then however they might distribute that out to any of you guys.
So that might be sensitive. So it only
Well,
goes to you guys, not
Right.
to the general public. So
It's a conversation.
got to get streamed to someone.
Thoughtful as to how her team's gonna disseminate that information to you. Our job is just to make sure it's available to them.
So it's there, but
Not-
It's getting,
It's in the process. It's a lot of, there's a lot of work.
No, I.
Yeah.
We're getting.
The main intent again for that internship is to get all those addressing points, those sub-addressing points into the NG 911 system for call routing purposes, so.
We'll have apartment A, B, and C.
Wherever we can get those records.
yeah, it required a lot of visits to municipalities and that kind of stuff to get the layouts for each building. Yep.
But now it worked.
Question.
Okay.
And then lastly, planning. So myself, I'm a one-stop shop, just like the rest of us. In land information, we're working on long-term projects. I think you've seen the outdoor rec plan just got recommended by the Public Safety Public Works Committee to go to the county board in December. We just completed a farmland preservation plan. We've done several other outdoor recreation planning activities in the last few years. And the big one in my world is comprehensive planning, and that will begin a rewrite next year. So that's a look at everything from transportation to housing, to land use, to economic development, a lot of things under the sun. Provides guidance for you guys as elected officials as to, we do surveys for the public, like what's the public sentiment on these topics? What information do you guys want to know from the public about how they would like certain things handled, and to set these goals, long-term ways that you want to achieve the vision for the county, and then implementation tools on how to get there. So all of us in the land information department are very public facing. We answer a lot of phone calls. We work with a lot of businesses to give them the information that they need to function. And I'm proud of the customer service that they deliver on a daily basis, and look forward to continuing the work here for the county. Any questions?
Did you have the open house? Was that last night for the rec plan?
Yes,
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
5
5
o'clock.
o'clock.
Public hearing, yes.
How did that go?
Oh, wonderful. There's 2 people that spoke. Lasted about 15 minutes.
So we have a representative from the Friends of the Gandy there, and then a representative from the ATV and Snowmobile Council there that made comments.
Okay, did it change anything? So is that plan moving forward to the county board?
Yes, it is.
It's moving forward?
Yep, no changes were recommended.
Okay, no changes were recommended, all right.
All right, thanks for
The
your time.
farmland, did we move that yet?
It's been yeah.
Yeah, it's been adopted. Yep,
That one we got through.
yep.
Done when I was.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay,
Yep,
thanks for your time.
thanks. Yep.
Thanks. You're up, administrator.
So that was kind of number,
10, still part of 10.
still part of 10, okay. Administrators update.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple of things. Sales tax is up for November.
You didn't catch it.
Once in the red, we're back in black.
That's good.
About $36,000, so that's good. We'll see how Black Friday did for us and Cyber Monday, and that's looking good. One of the things we had mentioned earlier, we were looking at our health plans and benefits going off for RFPs in 2025. We're going to push that to 2026. In 2025, we'll be working on redesigning some of our plans and looking at those as we streamline. It's a fairly long process to go out for RFPs for health benefits, so we'll go for RFPs in 2026 for that. We do have a MOU with the fair for the grandstand project. They did agree to everything that they wanted from closed session, so that project is moving forward now. So with that,
Did we get a presentation on that so we all know what's going on?
Right.
with that, I can do that at county board on my administrator's report, just and hand out the MOU to you so you guys can see it.
I think you should.
Yep.
I
I
think 'cause
heard about
there's,
it through the grapevine.
yeah, everybody's here at our back door. We better get it out there.
Yep, it's been signed
All kind of
and
know what's happening.
moving forward with it. So they're just setting up meetings now to go for the process of.
Does that MOU have to be approved by the whole board or not?
No.
Okay.
I have 2 appointments coming up for county board, 1 reappointment for Board of Adjustments and 1 reappointment for the Federated Library System Board. They'll be on that one. Mentioned the outdoor rec plan. Also, there was a article in the Emery Free Press on the Stour Trail. It did mention a cost of that. It was overstated about $62,000. They had their numbers wrong, so the paper is working on clarifying that number, just so you're aware of that one. And that's all I have for my update.
That's at 294 that they put in.
Correct. It's overinflated by about two.
So they put our
61.
cost, but not their cost.
What's that?
Do we know their cost?
No.
So why not? How do we know our cost? I thought that was done in closed session.
It's public documents.
Interesting how they portray that. It's on St. Croix 360 also. There's some comments on that. All right.
So that's all I have.
All right. Anybody have questions? Why it's zero sales tax? This is when you ask them.
I try to be as brief. Am I up?
You're up.
Okay, Tim didn't mention on November 19th, he kicked off the bike and ped plan process. If there's any comments about that, there's some ability to make comments on that online. We are rolling into our year end. We have some work to do yet to finalize grant payouts and also then reimbursements. They roll through into the next several months, especially in our Land and Water Resources Division. That's just, that's the way it always goes. We also have a lot of work to do to finalize ordinances here before building season in the next several months, which the committee will be talking about as we set our next work plan process. I wanted to give you a couple heads up. Number one, we have Act 235, known as Adams Law. When we're looking at the information that's available on the GIS, there is Act 235 in the state of Wisconsin that will redact information from general use for judges. We have our very own Tracy Klatt sits on the WLA technical committee, and she's been a part of two different task force. One is the NG 911 task force, which goes live on December 11th, by the way, NG 911, just so you know. And she also sat on the Judicial Privacy Task Force, which really gives a voice to Northern Wisconsin for some of these forms and things that are going on with digital data across the state of Wisconsin. Tracy is the only member on that technical committee from Northern Wisconsin counties. Everyone else is from Southern counties. So she really kind of provides a voice for us. So I just wanted, I know Tim has given a lot of shout outs, but it's really critical that we are involved in these type of task force and committees statewide. And so she has provided that for us. But anyway, that work, and we'll keep you informed on the forms and how that will proceed for judges and the redaction of that information for judicial privacy in Polk County.
Is that just their address and stuff is out of that?
Any,
Not put on?
yeah.
And the DA is also included, isn't he? On that?
Yes.
About you.
And yeah, municipal.
Oh, we get to know yours.
We get to hunt you down.
Well, and
No
so that's,
protection for me.
No protection for you.
that's the thing too. Wisconsin has always been, as we talked about, and even 25 years ago when we first kicked off the GIS, it was really a delicate discussion about if people's tax information and, you know, all of that information is going to be out there online, right? It was really, but Wisconsin has always been very much an open records law state. And so now this is kind of the first step. So WLA, the Wisconsin Land Information Association, really has paid attention to it because you can see how it would spin off, where eventually a lot of people would maybe want their information redacted, so, or, you know, taken off. So it's a complicated, it may not seem complicated on the face, but actually when you drill it, it can be fairly complicated in the long run when you start removing people's information, because where do you draw the line?
Right. Yeah.
So the second heads up, speaking of addresses and in public information, on December 9th, Johnstown address change level letters are going to be released. So I wanted to give you the heads up because sometimes you hear about address change projects. Johnstown, again, those letters will go out on December 9th. There are 96 address changes. So versus the 600 that we had in Balsam Lake, it's significantly less, but it doesn't mean that those folks are going to be any more happy. So just so you guys are aware,
September board meeting's gonna be.
yeah, well, and actually though, the other thing that you'll notice is that, and again, some of this was the town decision, the town of Balsam Lake elected to change named roads. The town of Johnstown did not. They are going to continue to keep some of their named roads that had that did not have any major issues. They elected to really change the ABCs, you know, the AAs, BBs, CCs. So just so you know, not, again, not that it makes it any easier for those folks, but there's 96 of them versus larger scale. And then trying to be quick, sorry, brief. Again, as we roll into year end, just looking at numbers for land use, subdivisions, new houses, all of them are above where we were last year, except for new houses. At the end of the year, we had 157 new houses last year. This year, we're only at 127. I mean, only, but we are a little bit less with a month to go. We're, you know, not sure how many more new houses will be going on in the next 4 weeks, Logan, but, and sanitary also is a little bit down, but again, from about 340, we were at 350 last year. So, but again, that we have a month to go, and I think Logan anticipates that we'll be at least where we were last year for that. You will see the Wisconsin Counties Forest Administration at your next county board meeting. They're coming to give you guys some good information. And yeah, today marks the day I've been here for 12 months. So year in, we're still kicking.
Can I ask?
She's
Yes.
looking for a raise already.
No, I'm not. I mean, I am, but I'm not.
A question.
Yeah, sure.
When I was reading through the minutes, one of the things that talked about was the committee discussed information and guidance from DNR regarding ordinance language. How, because when we looked at every other year when we've looked at doing the ordinances, and it's only been a short time since we've been doing it in this one short block thing, but how much do we depend on the DNR to give us information or guidance on our ordinances? I mean, is that, I don't recall that we've done that a lot in the past.
Well,
When we rewrote it, yes.
yeah, years ago, we used to rely quite a bit.
27 changes they made the one time.
Yeah.
Well, that was when we did the whole rewrite.
But then anytime you do it with the DNR, he has to send it in and get okay.
So the DNR, okay, all right. So
You have to send it, there's how many
Yeah, there's
places you
certain
send it.
standards that are required to be in our ordinance, which those may change. They don't, the standards themselves, but as far as like case law, or anything like that may
Yeah.
change the model ordinance that's required to be in our ordinance. Some,
because I mean, do we, I know in other things we work with the DNR, like the STOR and all that stuff. We don't, it's like a one-way conversation.
Right.
So how much are we dependent on the DNR when we start the ordinance stuff this year?
They do have things that are supposed to be mandated within our ordinance, and we will receive some guidance from them. And I think we'll actually even be talking that a little bit more under number 15 here.
On what?
Number 15.
Under number
On
15.
a agenda.
Well, plus at 14, because we don't have but that's not on, the ordinance stuff is not
It's on our,
today.
it's not on the agenda today.
So
And we'll talk about that, yeah, on the work plan.
On the work plan.
Want to
I'll
go
make
to
sure
the
that
work
we,
plan?
Okay,
bring that up and just save that question for that
okay.
time.
I didn't know if it was a good question when we were looking at minutes or good question for you now. or-
I think it's a great question right now.
It's because it's gonna come back, yeah.
Because I mean, it just seems like
It's not Judge Black, so it'll be less than 4 years.
I don't know. I mean, I know we spent a lot of time going back and forth with them when we were working on like the CAFO ordinance and that type of stuff. But when we're just doing minor updates, I just didn't know how dependent we are on them getting back to us for guidance. Or are we required to get guidance from them? Yep.
Yeah, I think for some of the shoreline stuff, yes. The general zoning provisions, no, not really.
That's up to
It's
us.
the shoreline stuff.
There's
We do.
mandated things that.
Yeah. But just general zoning.
Yeah,
Okay,
not as much.
okay.
Okay,
So now we're on where?
so we did the date. We're gonna have it on the 15th.
Thank you.
So then you'll have your deadline. Shabana put on this?
Yeah.
I highlighted this one, but the deadline for the 15th one will be what? The same?
Yeah.
7th? Okay. So if you have any change, it'll have to be by the 7th. Killed it.
Yeah,
ESC be the same deadline. So we don't have to amend stuff. All right.
and we'll have the lake study report in January as well, on January 15th.
From the,
The internal lake one, that's the one, yeah.
okay,
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, the undeveloped lake study.
Yeah, undeveloped lake study.
We didn't want to stack it into this meeting,
Yeah.
Okay,
because there was a lot going on. So appreciate the flexibility to
That'd be
move
kinda
that to
interesting.
January, and that would be a good agenda item, and that 2-year study will all come together.
what was the forest distribution money? Is that gonna be on there too yet? January?
I can let Shabana know for sure, but right now it's listed.
Okay.
There.
So that's from the forester.
So I mean,
The renewable energy presentation is something I had a question about.
What?
The renewable energy presentation, I had a question about.
That was probably just from last year.
Okay.
So there were a couple of things on there that can be removed, like that one.
That'll be removed. But now when we say review of ordinances, let's put, I think we're gonna start with the shoreline. So put the word shoreline in there so
Yes.
people know that's what we're,
We'll be specific, and I believe that Logan will have a packet for the board with, and all of the specifics will be listed out. So.
because we had the other one that we're going through. He gave us that,
Public will be able to read what we're going through. Everybody
Yes.
will be able to see what we're
because
discussing.
we had the shoreline one and stuff, the model ordinance that you gave last time. Okay.
So as we go through some of that stuff, getting guidance from the DNR, do you also look for getting guidance? I mean, how much is there public involved in that too?
Well, eventually, obviously, the public can see what we're discussing, and then the process would be, it has to go to a public hearing, and then that's their opportunity to come in and give public comment on the changes that are being, being suggested.
Yep.
So would be, that's why we're shooting for February for the public hearing. So by March, the beginning of the building season,
Yeah.
we're kind of ready for
Yes,
Yeah.
with the changes.
DNR would like at least a month prior to the public hearing to review it.
Review the shoreline
A month,
stuff.
yes.
Just the shoreline stuff. They're not reviewing the rest of our stuff.
Yeah.
Just the short one to make
Yes.
sure it's legal.
If there is any major changes, yeah.
statutorily, they do have to certify our shoreline ordinance.
Yeah.
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 So that's where I was talking about the crunch, because we're at January 15th. They need a month, if you guys make some recommendations, or
So it might,
February, it might be March before the public hearing.
yes, it might be the meeting in March.
Mhm.
To not force it. So let's just do that right now then. Don't you think? And to sit here and try to do the crunch and it'd be forced, and let's just say it's gonna be February. Or
Logan nods his head. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
wouldn't that be easier for everybody to know it?
yeah, from what I'm hearing as far as the review time period, yeah, that's probably gonna work better.
Because otherwise we're just gonna change it the next month. We might as well just do it now and kind of plan for it on March. All right.
We'd still be okay. So when building season starts, people will know about the changes in enough time.
Yeah. Well, the road restrictions are on it in May. So we have, we got a little flexibility there. That's usually the building season is when the road come off is the huge part. So that's the 1st of May.
That's when they start, but their planning starts before.
Yeah, and they start
Some of them.
and things before, but we'll have
Yeah.
to be able
So
to.
that'll help with, that's still 2-3 months ahead to get plans up and
Okay.
stuff. So at least it helps that way. But I mean, yeah, the sooner the better, kind of. But if we know it's gonna be such a crunch, let's move it a month right now so that we know. So then February, we can do more things for discussion or whatever on that next meeting then. So let's just move that to March.
Done.
Okay. Go ahead,
I
go
have a
ahead.
couple questions. So it also says final review of ordinances. So is that not accurate then? Because being new, and maybe these are stupid questions, but I'm going to ask them anyways, as far as how this process works, as far as getting input. I mean, the one that we had all the discussion on setback averaging. When is it just, Sarah's department and Logan that work on this with the DNR and then they propose, or is there other input then that comes from the committee, from builders, from
Yeah.
whatever, as
In
far
the
as, I mean,
public hearing, yes.
that, we have to wait till the public hearing before they come up even with a draft?
That's typically when they have their opportunity. Like it's not a, yeah, staff will come forward with what DNR, we're hearing from DNR, with what we are being told as staff. And then, yes, then it will be the public hearing is the opportunity really for public, builders and alike to come in and say that stuff.
But the
So-
DNR is just shoreland stuff that you're,
Right.
Right, but that's really the bulk of some of the changes we're looking at.
So then if, based on public hearing, would changes be made? And then it goes through the
It
whole
could be
process
made.
again?
Yes.
I mean, is that kind of,
Yeah, not necessarily the whole process again.
right? So that's
I
what I'm,
understand what you're saying. It's just that then changes could be heard, and then you could make changes then after the public hearing, and then that's what would go to full county board for final approval.
but would that have to go back to the DNR then?
no.
It would
unless
not.
it was shoreland.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuck on the setback averaging because we had so much discussion about.
Well, and
few
I think
months
the
ago.
DNR is definitely gonna have some things to say about our setback averaging rules right now. So yes, and if you hear complaints about it, for example, some people might not like what the DNR has to say, but ultimately, if they're saying this is mandated or this is what we are for sure saying has to be done, then if you don't want to do
Well,
that,
I mean, I'm good with
Well,
that. I
if it's
just,
mandated, we have to.
right, if it's mandated.
But if it's not mandated, then it's up to us to make our decision. What we
Correct.
send.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
that
you understand where I'm getting at as far as why, if we need input,
right, I guess.
I wait till,
right.
yes, so that's where like you guys will get the packet with proposed changes. That'll be in the packet. So if you guys, receive information that wants to be changed before we come to that final public hearing, or not the public hearing, stuff will change in between that and the public hearing.
Okay.
Possibly depending on
Okay.
feedback that, is at public comment during this agenda item of review of ordinance, or, that you guys receive yourselves. So it's pretty much gonna be the public hearing will obviously be a time when, it can also be commented on, but there can be a lot of changes leading up to that.
Okay.
So ideally, it's close to final when it gets there, but there's still public comment or public hearing that then you guys can change, which then the changes would be made, and then it would be,
So the way it ends up is there is input. They need something. We have to put it in writing.
well, absolutely. We have to start with something before we
Yeah.
can make changes to
So
something. I
then
get
we,
that.
then we put it in writing, then we have the public hearing on that.
Right.
And like you said, a lot of time it is kind of doubled up.
Okay.
And we,
Because we're gonna get it, because right now we have public without knowing what we want to put on paper.
Right.
How do you comment on it?
Exactly. You can't.
Yeah.
Understand.
So that's
You guys
Subjective
will do a
energy.
draft, come to us,
Right.
we'll have a discussion here.
Yeah.
Make changes possibly, maybe not.
we just want to make sure it's in the packet going out ahead of the agendas and stuff, so that
Yeah.
not only you can look at it, the public can look at it
Yeah.
also.
Right.
So that they have the opportunity at each meeting to come to public comment and they
Right.
comment on that
Right.
at that time versus the formal public hearing waiting to the end of the process.
And just saying, here's what we got.
Right.
Right.
You get one shot at it and not. or
And
here-
then the non-shoreland pieces, the few of those are going to also be part of the packet as
It all
far as
roll into one ordinance change.
update.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's a real lot of them, is there?
There's just several that are outside of.
So I
the
mean,
ordinance.
it's,
We're just trying
everything's intentional with zoning.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we have?
Is there something else?
Well,
I'm trying to think what else
I'm
we have
sorry
on
to
our list.
cut in
No,
front of you, cut you off there, Chair.
but the wildlife damage is gonna come back.
Tomorrow, yeah. next-
She just looked like she had something more to say, that's all.
Well, we
Sorry,
can't.
you cut her off, okay.
Talking too much.
I understand you're the chair, so.
thanks, Chair. I appreciate that.
I think we're safe. I mean, on some of this, I think we gotta stick to, what we're gonna do on our agenda here. What else is coming up then? I mean, we have,
Well, now we need to do our litigation update. Or you're talking.
do we have any, we don't know if we have any, public hearings or anything yet, do we?
yeah, there's one rezone for sure. I think there
There's a
will
rezone, okay,
be two.
For January?
Yeah,
so there might be two
I
rezones,
believe there will be, just from what I'm hearing.
okay,
One is already in our office, and then I believe at least another one will be.
just to space it so that we don't fill it too full, huh? Okay. We forget anything? I think we're good. Does that look like it's gonna be full?
It'll be
Yeah,
public hearings, actually. I mean,
most of the public
the
here,
presentations we had today were longer than most of them.
yeah. In a rezone, we can't do much anyway, but
And the
It's a yes
forest
or
and
no.
wildlife stuff goes fast.
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause there's-
well, distribution of payments still go fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing that we have to add to that then, okay, or move around. All right, and then possibly 2 rezones. No, the address stuff will go to you guys, public safety over there,
Correct.
if they're mad, so they don't come here anymore. Cool.
No, they'll just come to the county board.
Yeah, that's all right too. All right, are we good? How about land and water? We good with you on this? You just have the ones, the
We just have.
undeveloped lake study?
Yeah.
Okay,
And look, it's really doing.
Too.
yeah, okay. All right,
You're gonna contact Brad.
Yeah, I will. Yep, now that we've got the date set, I would send Brad an email.
Oh, he'll like to see
Supervisor
it.
Olson.
Sure, Mr.
Yeah.
President has the date.
I just mentioned it to him that we're gonna contact him.
yeah, when it came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday, I think it was, yeah.
55.
I've got it noted and I'll send him an email
Yeah,
today.
he was part of that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, he's interested.
Mhm.
Oh, gosh, yeah. All right. Litigation updates, any, none?
Feel like a closed session on that to get you updated on potential litigation.
Oh,
So
really?
that means there is, we need a closed session.
Need a closed session.
I make a motion, we go into closed session.
I'll second.
What, per statute 1985 G.
Thank you so much. Good job.
Yep,
Good to see you.
Have a Merry
See you.
Christmas,
You
everybody.
too.
you too.
2.
Nope, it's in the room. Of course.
And then I moved to, to adjourn.
Just-
Open the door. Oh. Now it's open. Now I move to adjourn the meeting.
Wait, we gotta have this.
Oh, they
gotta
have to
come
be
back,
back.
and it
Sorry.
has to be
Okay,
on
sorry, I
video.
blew up. We're good.
Are we up?
Yep.
When you come out of closed session
We're out of closed session.
on that.
We're out of closed session.
Now I
with-
can make,
with,
now I move to close, to adjourn the meeting?
No announcements out of the closed session.
Correct.
Okay, now you can.
Okay, sorry. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Sharon,
All
what
those in
happened
favor
to
say aye.
Sharon? Aye.
John.